saw them pop up on Instagram several months ago, actually. They started posting, I guess, in the lead up to their launch. And then they did launch, and there was an article about them on Fragrantica. So I was quite curious. They're based in Singapore, neighbouring country to Australia. So I just thought I'd show my support and order a discovery set. And so I did. They have 6 fragrances in their lineup at the moment. And I want to quickly go through them today. I don't want to dwell on each one too much because I'm not super familiar with them yet. I wouldn't call this a first impressions though, because I have been sampling them and sniffing them for a couple of months now. However, I haven't given any of them extensive wearings yet. So it's mostly just been on paper. Maybe occasionally I'll spritz it on skin, but I haven't really fully immersed myself in any of them yet to give you a full-blown review. And so I'll keep this short, give you a brief overview, and then I'll come back later and talk about the ones perhaps that I like the most and that I'll sample more extensively. Before we fully get into it though, I'm sorry, I think my camera lens might need a bit of a clean because it's looking a little bit smudgy, but I don't have time to do that today because Matt is doing some renovations upstairs. You may hear some background noise. I know I say that every video, it's probably going to happen and continue to happen for several months yet. However, I do need to make this short partly because I need to go upstairs and help the guy out. So he's being very nice to me and giving me a reprieve so that I can come down here and film for a bit. I do want to quickly just mention my scent of the day because I'm really excited about it. It arrived in the mail today and it is 1472 by Histoire de Parfum. This is their new release and it is gorgeous. This is so up my alley, this fragrance, and I took a risk and ordered it at the little 15ml bottle. I just love their packaging, by the way. So I ordered the little 15ml bottle of it because I ordered something else from them as a Christmas gift for Buggerlugs upstairs. So we just saw this had been just released. Literally as I was making the order, I thought I'll just check my emails to see if they had any discount codes or anything like that. And sure enough, there was an email in there talking about this. And so instead of a discount code, I added something else to my order. However, I ordered it because I just really liked the sound of it. And you never know, okay, you never know when you're blind by anything, whether you're gonna like it or not, even if the notes sound really good. So the notes are Armoire, I don't know what that is, Ylang Ylang, and Accord Solaire, so maybe solar notes. Then in the mid, you have Jasmine, Cannelle, I don't know what that is either, and incense or incense. And in the base, there's benzoin, rum, and amber. It's actually not as dark as you might expect, given those base notes. It's quite light. It is a very solar kind of fragrance, which I love those kinds of fragrances. I wouldn't call it necessarily a beachy fragrance, although you probably could wear it in that kind of setting. It's very perfumey, so it still smells quite formal and elevated, even though it's got all these sort of solar, tropical kind of flowers in it. I mean, I've literally just sprayed it on, so I need more time with it, but I just thought I'd mention it because if anyone is sort of thinking about it or had seen it and didn't know whether they wanted to try it or try and get a sample of it, if you like those big tropical florals, if you like solar kind of fragrances, and with an ambery base, definitely worth a sample. This is probably arguably the most successful blind buy I've ever had. Just, you know, based on my first initial impressions of it, having had it on my skin for all of 10 minutes. So that's why I'm so excited, because I'm like, finally I blind bought something that I opened up, smelled, and just went, ah. So there you go, 1472 by Histoire de Parfum, absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so there's no particular order that I'll do these fragrances in other than I'll try and remember which ones were the lighter sort of ones and then I'll move to the heavier ones. I do have notes that I have been making over the last few weeks, and It's so weird. I probably have typed notes somewhere as well. I do have Evernote on my phone, and often I will type my notes into that. But then there's days when I just want to get the thoughts out because I'm in a rush or something, and I can't do it. I can't type that quickly on my phone. I get really frustrated. So I usually just scribble it down in an actual notebook. Another thing I've been trying to do lately as well is actually take voice recordings so that I can just get the thoughts out of my head, and then come back later and transcribe them or listen to them, and then just pick out the highlights so that I can talk about it. If anyone else has a better system, I'd be interested to know, because sometimes, especially like today, where I'm talking about something that I've had for a while and I've been sampling on and off, and I've probably got notes scattered all. I couldn't remember whether I'd written the notes or typed them or recorded, and I've probably done all three. If I was to go and search through my Evernote, I'd probably find more notes and or voice recordings. But yeah, I think I need to just find one system and stick to it. But I don't always have my notebook with me, but I always have my phone. So it kind of makes sense that I would stick to the phone. But yeah, if anyone has any advice or suggestions on how I could better manage that, then I would appreciate it. Okay, so let's start. Oh, it's amazing, like these strips, I spritzed them weeks ago, and I can still very clearly smell the fragrance on it. That's one thing I will say up front about these fragrances is their longevity is fantastic, and I'll go into that a little bit more when I talk about a couple of the others. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Lost Lovers. Now this is the one that I've had for the shortest amount of time actually, because when I ordered the Discovery set, this one got left out. So I just contacted them and they just went, oh, that was meant to be in there. So they sent it out straight away. I think I had it within 2 days. Amazing. I'm going to spray this again because it's good to have the dry down on the strip, but it's also good to remind myself what the opening smells like. Okay, so this smells like a fresh floral, slightly sweet, but not. I always want to be careful about saying sweet, because people then, I think, immediately think that it smells like something you're going to pick up in a department store. It's not like that. It's just subtly sweet, it's floral, and it has vetiver in it. So it's quite fresh and aromatic. There's a dryness to it, but those florals give it that bit of depth. It's very nice, actually. I like this a lot. It does smell familiar to me. Like, I think it reminds me a little bit of Vetiver Fatale by Atelier Cologne. Not because, like, they don't smell the same. In fact, I might like this one even better because I think the floral notes in here are amped up a little bit more. Whereas I think in Vetiver Fatale, it's really more about the vetiver with a bit of citrus in the top. So this is very pleasant. It would be a great one to wear in the summer. Probably would lean a little bit feminine if you're a man and would worry about that. But otherwise, I think this is fantastic. I haven't tried this one on skin though, because again, this is the last one that I got, and so I've had the least amount of time with it. And by the time I got this, I'd sort of been through the others and I didn't really spend as much time on this one. So I'm very glad I got to try this one because this is my type of fragrance. I love this sort of thing in summertime in the warmer weather. So that's a really nice one for the warmer weather. That smells kind of classy, not too overpowering, although longevity, again, on the card still smelled quite strong even after a few weeks. So yeah, just a really pleasant, slightly sweet vetiver floral fragrance, or floral vetiver fragrance maybe. And in fact, the card smells quite similar to how it smelled before I spritzed it again. So maybe it's fairly linear. But again, I haven't tried it on skin, so maybe that might change it or change the development a little bit. I don't know what the notes are. It says here, Lost Lovers is essential baritone fragrance that is inspired by ephemeral quality of youth, beauty and love, with the vivid aromatic tones of vetiver. But it doesn't really tell you anything else that's in there. Oh yeah, here we go. Images of young plants unfurling in a forest, but with time the fragrance becomes richer, warmer, pairing the smoothness of sandalwood, amber and smoky sensual elements of vetiver. So maybe the vetiver comes out more in the dry down then, because in the opening there is quite a lot of floral in there. Let me see if Fragrantica has anything on it. Okay, so according to Fragrantica, the top notes are myrtle, French orange flower, bergamot and rose. The middle notes are cedar, jasmine and violet. And the base notes are spices, amber, vetiver and white musk. I definitely get that white musk as well, actually. It is quite musky. This is really nice. I like it a lot. Very, very nice. Okay. And so my actual notes on this were extensive, not. Vetiver reminds me a little bit of vetiver fatale. A hint of sweetness, not too sharp, leaning green, very warm and woody, and I really enjoy it. So there you have it. So the next one I have here is Mother Love. Maybe I'll start with my thoughts on this one instead of just launching into a diatribe. Again, the card smells fantastic. This is a really kind of heady floral in the dry down, according to this card, because again, this was spritzed a few weeks ago. Maybe a little bit woody, but not too much. Definitely it's more floral. Yeah, it's just a really pretty floral fragrance. White florals primarily, I would say. All right, so let's spritz it again. Okay, so the opening is quite different. So in comparison to the dry down, the opening is maybe a little bit more soapy, sort of clean smelling, and maybe more musky. Interesting. Okay. What did I say? I said floral, kind of creamy, but not sweet. Buttery maybe, and orange blossom, question mark. I've said musky, clean musk, but not sharp, still creamy. Yep, I agree with that still. Soapy white floral. I said interesting that it's called Mother Love, as it kind of reminds me of a baby's smell, sort of milky clean. But in the dry down it was much more floral and a little bit more dense too. You know, that sort of dense, heady cloud that you get sometimes with, you know, big florals, big white florals. Okay, interesting. All right, so they were my thoughts. Let's see what they say about it. This is a nostalgic ode to the endlessly enveloping feel of a mother's love. Through the soft, billowy breeze of white musk, Mother Love evokes feelings of nostalgia and comfort. Delicate white flowers capture the texture of cashmere, melting into the air of musk to evoke feelings of openness, of memories of lush gardens where faded tiles are brightened by the afternoon sunlight. Mother Love is airy, elegant and intimate, serving as a reminder for the constant and comforting feel of a womanly affection. So it's meant to be comforting. Oh, they do have notes. I just realised at the very bottom of the card, there's like a little symbol and then it has the notes. Well, it just has 3 notes listed: ginger, vanilla and musk. Definitely more in there than that. But I would agree with this description. I think the description is really apt. It's fluffy like cashmere. It's very comforting. It's soft. It's clean smelling. It's nice. It's probably not my thing because I think a few years ago I would have really loved this, but I think now I'm sort of not as much into white musky sort of fragrances as I used to be. But it is very pleasant, and I think I preferred the dry down on the card to what I'm smelling in the opening. So, oh my God, I don't know if you could hear that. It was like some kid screaming, so I don't know if someone's being murdered, but anyway. Okay, the next one is Nanyang. This is the one I think that caught my attention because it's going to sound so silly. Because in Australia, all of our neighbouring countries are Asian countries. So, you know, I've spent a lot of time in Indonesia, particularly Bali, because that was the closest sort of destination to when I was living on the other side of the country in Western Australia. So we did a lot of holidays to Bali. I've spent a fair bit of time in Singapore. I've cycled through Vietnam and Cambodia. And we went to Japan last year, and Thailand as well. So these are countries that are very accessible to us, and I just love the culture of these countries, and they're just so welcoming, and the people are just so beautiful. And I mean, every country that I go to, I don't think there's any country that I've been to where people have been not welcoming. Even France, if you can believe that, even though I couldn't speak French. So, you know, but there is sort of something, I think because I've spent so much time in these countries over the years, that I feel like I kind of have a sense of patriotism for them, and they you know, they're part of my home as well. And so, I don't know, the title of this fragrance just caught my attention because I thought, oh, this is going to be something that represents some kind of cultural element, whether it be like a national flower or something, you know. I don't know what Nanyang means, but I'm sure it's going to become clear once I read through the cliff notes. Anyway, so enough yabbering from me. Let's have a smell. Okay, so this one, I think this might have been the first one I sprayed months ago, and so I can't really smell anything on this strip now. It is pretty, it's pretty faint. So I'm going to spray it again. Oh, okay, so this is very citrusy. That's possibly also why I couldn't smell it on the card, because maybe it just doesn't have the same longevity as the others do. But what did I say? My back is sore, sorry. So I've said it smells like lime or bergamot, like a green citrus, which I still get that. A juicy, limey, bergamot-y smell. Refreshing and crisp smelling, watery. I feel like I get green tea. And then, okay, I think I'm smelling this now because I've written it down, but maybe this was something I smelled over time. But I said, it seems odd though with the incense note and leather. I wouldn't have picked this as an amber perfume, but it is. So there you go. It's an ambery perfume. Yeah, okay. So the opening is really fresh and citrusy. Yeah, and the leather note is starting to come through now. So if you smelled this and you just smelled those first few moments, you would think, oh yeah, it's a green tea, citrusy kind of smell. But it's got some depth to it. And it's really interesting with that leather note. It's a very clean, it's very light. I mean, it's not super dense or anything. Intriguing. Yeah, okay, interesting. Let me check Fragrantica first for the the notes, even though I know I always diss Fragrantica. I'm really mean to them. Yep, so they've classified it as an ambery, spicy scent. They say it's a floral, woody musk fragrance. Interesting. Top notes are lemon, green tea, bergamot, and pepper. Yep. Middle notes are incense, saffron, and jasmine. Don't know if I'm getting that, but could just be me, and maybe I just need to let it develop a bit more. Base notes are leather, sandalwood, vanilla, amber, and white musk. You do get the leather, but it works, even with all those citrusy notes. I quite like it, even though I'm not a huge fan of leather, generally. All right, so what do they say about their own fragrance? Let's see. Nanyang, a sophisticated tea fragrance that pays homage to the old Singapore. Nanyang is a distinct and androgynous fragrance inspired by the South Seas and Chinese diaspora. With hazy, dreamy black tea, Nanyang evokes a richness of culture, harking back to golden days with warm facets of greenery and malt. A hint of white flowers suggests the crispness of linen suits, whilst bold leather creates a striking contrast between shadow and light. Nanyang is a fragrance of transformation, one that brings striking facets together to create a unique fusion of the old and the new, and masculine and feminine, and the East and the West, contrasting. Oh, I kind of like that. I don't normally really resonate with, marketing blurbs, because usually they're so esoteric that you're just going, I have no idea what that fragrance smells like based on what they've said, but these are really good write-ups. Anyway, and then they've just said that the main notes are green tea, saffron, and leather. So there you go. All right, so that's Nanyang. Halfway through. The next one is Bali H'ai. I'm falling off my chair. Okay, so this smells, again, ambery and kind of sweet, vanilla-y. That's all I'm getting at the moment in the dry down. So let's spritz it again, see what the opening is like. I should probably spritz it on a different strip, but anyway. Oh, okay, that's quite different as well. Oh yeah, okay. Nice, I like that. Okay, so this is tropical creamy flowers. I feel like maybe gardenia or something, but not. Gardenia is a really hard flower for me. I love gardenias in the garden and the smell of a garden when they have gardenias in it. But I usually am not a huge fan of it when it's in perfume, because sometimes it can just smell like really old and a bit fusty, even though it's tropical. I know that sounds bad. Anyway, so what have I said? I have said tropical, creamy, and very coconutty. Yep. Photorealistic coconut, smells dry and scratchy, as well as sweet and creamy. And then I can't read my writing. Something and a bit of vanilla too. Not as fruity as I would have guessed given the name, because Bali H'ai, I think, is a cocktail, which obviously the cocktail is named after something else. But my experience of Bali H'ai is that anything that smells like Bali H'ai usually smells like a cocktail. This doesn't smell like a cocktail. But it does smell coconutty. And I think actually what I was thinking might have been like a gardenia flower is actually coconut. I think so. Yeah. It's got that fleshiness to it, Let me finish reading this. Not as fruity as I would have gathered given the name. Very soft and billowy as it dries. Yeah, and then again, as I mentioned, when I smelled the dried strip, it just smelled kind of ambery and vanilla, like an ambery vanilla. So anyway, what am I doing? I know I've been doing it in a different order every time, but I'll try and be consistent now. So let me consult the Fragrantica. Okay. Not ambery at all. Apparently it smelled ambery to me. Okay, so they've just called it a vanilla coconut white floral, and they haven't announced what is in it, but it's a floral fruity gourmand. So maybe it was like more of a vanilla-y white floral that I was getting in the dry down rather than an ambery. But I guess, I don't know, sometimes ambers these days have so much vanilla in them that anytime I smell vanilla, I kind of feel like it's an ambery fragrance. Okay, what am I up to? I'm going to read did I show you do I need to? I guess I'll be consistent and show you the card. Sorry, I know I'm all over the place. I'm just trying to do this quickly so I can go and help Matt. Okay, so this says, a whispered siren's call carried on a balmy breeze off the sea. Bali H'ai is a wistful opening of creamy coconut, and sea breeze is reminiscent of watching the waves lap up against the tropical shores on a summer evening in Bali. The settling dusk evoked with the tender notes of sunset tinted pink rose and jasmine. Okay, so there's florals in there. A full and voluptuous vanilla accord creates a mysterious yet familiar warmth and a touch of soft amber. Okay, so it is ambery for texture. A smooth and trancing dry down of soft floral sea and woods carries you into a reverie of tranquility. It's romantic. Yeah, the dry down, I would agree, is romantic. I don't know if I'm finding the opening that romantic. If you like coconut and vanilla, and they say that the main notes are coconut, jasmine and vanilla. So again, good if you like coconut, but if you don't like coconut, you might not like this one because the coconut is very prominent. Anyway, so that was Bali H'ai. Now we come to the last two, and I'll leave that one for last. So this one is Bois de Indonesia. So woods of Indonesia, maybe. Just guessing. Okay, definitely woody. I like the dry down. This is like a soft, ambery, woody scent in the dry down. It's very rich. I quite like it, but not too dark. All right, let's re-spritz it and see what the opening smells like. Whoa, okay. So the opening, very woody in the opening. I don't know what kind of wood I'm getting. It's a very dry, but also kind of feels wet. Does that make sense? It's dry and wet at the same time. Maybe the wetness is just because the card's wet because I just spritzed it. But it does feel like you get an element. It feels like there's more than one type of wood in here to me. And it smells like there is a woody element that is very dry and crisp. And then there's another woody element that is not so dry and crisp. Okay, all right. Well, I'm just going to move on to my notes and see what I said. Oh man, my handwriting is atrocious. I said woody, saffron, ? Spicy, but the spices feel dark brown, but the fragrance itself is not dark or heavy. Okay. So maybe I'm thinking, maybe what I meant there was that I feel like there's brown spices like cinnamons and cloves, or it's definitely, I don't think there's clove in here. But there's, yeah, okay, it is a bit spicy. So maybe nutmeg? I don't know. Anyway, so it just feels, maybe there isn't any of those things in there, but that's what it feels like to me. So it feels woody and spicy. And again, I've listed saffron maybe as a potential. Quite fresh and aromatic. Actually starts to feel more green in the mid before drying down to a soft woody base. Okay. Once I can read my writing. Okay, yeah. I'm not getting the greenness yet, but I obviously paid a bit of attention to this one. So this one and the next one are my favorites from the line, I think, or they were when I tested them. So I might have smelled these a little bit more extensively. Well, let's see what Fragrantica says. Right, okay, so it's woody oud floral. All right, and that's basically all they say. They say it's a woody floral musk and there's oud in it. So maybe the oud is that crisp wood that I was smelling. So it's not a challenging kind of oud. Is there any other notes? Did anyone else volunteer any notes? Nope. Oh, here we go. So oud, lotus, bamboo, sandalwood, vetiver, and pear. Okay. I'm not really getting pear, but maybe the bamboo is what I was getting as the green notes in the mid. Interesting. Okay. What do they say? Let's go. An elegant woody fragrance that pays tribute to Indonesia's exquisite temples. Bois de Indonesia is inspired by the intricate wood carvings expressed through the mellow richness of incense and agar wood. Clarity is brought through the freshness of delicate and airy bamboo and lotus, balanced with the gentle warmth of tea and nutmeg. Ah, nutmeg. Okay, so there you go. Density and shadow is captured through the rich woody notes sitting front and center with a savory dry down of vetiver and amber. Spiritual is this one. This one is meant to be, and they've listed the main notes as oud, sandalwood and lotus. Yeah, so you've got a sort of, so the floral notes are not super bold in here, but I think they just give it maybe a bit more softness, and there is that sort of watery, I guess. It's not an aquatic scent though, but it just has, the florals are very much in the background, and they're just an accent more than center stage like they are in a lot of other fragrances, I guess. So that was Bois d'Indonésie. And then the last one is clearly my favorite because I drew a little heart on it. This is Les Nuits de Bali. I hope I've said that right. Or Les Nuits de Bali. Okay, don't know. Oh, and the other thing too, which I forgot to mention, was that there's there's 2 lines, and one is called chapter 1. So the first 3 that I went through were chapter 1, and then the last 3 were from chapter 2. So I don't know what the different chapters mean, but maybe they released 3 and then another 3. I'm not sure. Okay, so what does this smell like? This one I remember quite distinctly. I sprayed the card and had it sitting on my desk for weeks, and every time I came down these stairs into my office, I could smell it. And so this has, I think, incredible lasting power, at least on paper. I did spray it on my skin. I did wear it on skin, and I really enjoyed it. And it was one of those ones where I found it quite addictive, and I kept sort of going, oh, it smells really nice. So this is one of my favorites, obviously, from the line. Okay, my notes first. Where are we going? Oh, hang on, I've got to spray it. Oh yeah, and I've nearly worn through the sample as well, so sad. Okay, let's go. Oh, this is just so, it's like a boozy amber, a sweet boozy amber. Oh, it's good, it's really good. This is, I mean, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, this might be one to check out because it would probably work really well with the weather you're having. The last 2, in fact, this one and Bois d'Indonésie, I think both of these are sort of more wintry kind of fragrances. So if you're in the Northern Hemisphere and you want something to try, maybe focus on those 2. Anyway, Les Nuits de Bali dry down is milky and creamy, woody and ambery. Really, really, really pretty. Lovely vanilla note that is quite realistic and not overly sweet. All right, so that wasn't overly descriptive, given that I've obviously been through most of the vial. So I suspect that I have other notes somewhere else in Evernote or as a voice recording, and I don't have time to go searching for them. So we're just going to move on. I will say, while I'm looking up these notes, that this one isn't super radical. If you've smelled a lot of sweet, boozy, ambery scents, then you probably have smelled something similar to this. You know, this isn't groundbreaking. I think some of the other fragrances in here are a bit different, but I feel like this one's probably more of their crowd, one of their crowd pleasers. I like a good crowd pleaser, okay? I want to smell nice for other people as well as myself sometimes. Fragrantica, again, has been very unhelpful, and all they've said is aromatic, spicy fragrance for women and men. It has, they say, patchouli, saffron, agar wood, vanilla, sandalwood, and rose. Yeah, I guess. Don't think I'd disagree with any of those. Let's see what Maison de L'Asie say about their own fragrance. Inspired by the balmy nights on a tropical island, Les Nuits de Bali is a decadent fragrance full of intrigue and mystery, opening with the poetic alchemy of patchouli and rose, sparkling with the unique and golden richness of saffron. An intense accord of sandalwood and oud provide a luxuriant velveteen backdrop as rich as the night sky, all wrapped up in intimate musks, soft vanilla, and a plush amber. Alluring. Definitely is alluring. As I said, when I had it on my arm, it was all day long. I was just sniffing myself. I thought it was great. It's one of those really sort of addictive, you just want to keep smelling it fragrances. I liked that they've put velveteen in their description because it does have a velvety feel to it. They've said the main notes are patchouli, saffron, and oud. Yeah, I'd say it's a hard pick for me between these two last ones because I actually really like them both. Although they're both unisex, but I would say that maybe the Bois de Indonesia leans a little bit more masculine just because it's more woody, whereas this one has that sweetness to it. No boozy notes though. I just realised, even though I think it smells boozy. So it must be sort of the vanilla, I guess, that... Anyway, who cares? It just smells really good. All right, so they were my two favourites out of the line, but having re-smelled some of the others, I think I really liked... Lost Lovers was nice, but yeah, I'm not sure. I really liked the dry down of that Nanyang, I think. So maybe I need to sample that one on skin and see how that goes when I wear it. So that was it. I hope you enjoyed the little overview of those fragrances. I haven't really given you any information about the house, but if I can find it, I will link the article about them that's on Fragrantica, or you can just go look it up on Fragrantica yourself, I guess. But if I can find it, I'll link it below so you can get to it easily. And I just ordered directly from the perfumer. I don't know if they've got distributors or anything around the globe yet. I haven't checked, but it's pretty easy in Australia at least to be able to order directly from Singapore. So just maybe contact them. If you're interested in trying them, I'd just contact them. The sample sets were not that much, so I would encourage you to contact them and see what they can do. Anyway, thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed that. Sorry the lighting was a bit crap today, and I obviously need to clean my lens. So technology maintenance. I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for joining me if you made it this far, and if you liked it, please do give it a thumbs up as always. And of course, if you haven't yet subscribed, please consider. Just give it a go. It's free and it helps me out. All right, thanks so much. I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.